Live from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, it's Saturday night. Or as one other person like to say, let me talk to you. Yeah. How you doing, folks? It's Jeff with This Week with JTT. And boy, we got a lot to talk about. A lot to unpack, though. Like a lot of crazy things been going on for the last week and all that. First, we lost more people, unfortunately. One we lost is legendary rock star Ace Frehley, former founding member of Kiss. Like I said, this is like an impromptu, thing I add to it, but I make it part of my monologue. Ace Frehley is, like I said, Kiss. I been a fan of Kiss since I was a little kid. I'm dead serious. I in the beginning, I was into like all sorts of music back then. I was into soul. I was into R&B, some blues like B.B. King, some James Brown. Looks like I have a guest here. Hold on. And before I say another word, let me introduce my friend here, Rapper Joe. What's up?
What's going on?
Hi, man. Looking good. How you feeling, man? I heard you wasn't feeling too good. What's happened to you?
I'm still a little under the weather, but I got to toughen it out, pull through. Can't let a little illness slow you down from living life. We only got one life to live.
That's true. Okay, of course, you know what happened to Ace Frehley, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Growing
up, I wasn't a big Kiss fan, but I did enjoy his solo work outside of Kiss. He was an awesome guitar player, and he had a couple good albums outside of Kiss. And he did, if it wasn't for him, I don't think there would be a Kiss.
Okay, I'm gonna throw some things that even people would not know. For example, before they put on the makeup, and the funny thing is, my first ex-girlfriend going on 30 years ago used to work with somebody who has a boyfriend at the time who was in a band called Wicked Lester. Now keep that name in mind, Wicked Lester. Now these guys did wore no makeup. At the last minute, the guy said, "You know what? Let's put on the makeup." This guy chose, "You know what? I want no makeup." I left. These guys put on the makeup, called themselves Wicked Lester, and later on, they went with the name Kiss, and the rest is rock and roll history.
Wow.
That was wild. Well, I heard that says no way. And it's in Wikipedia. It's fact. It's musical historical fact. But going back, my late cousin, he had a Kiss album called Rock and Roll All Night. It's like one of the first few Kiss albums that came out in the 70s. Kiss been around since early mid-70s. They've been around forever. Holy moly, they've been around forever.
A lot of people like to associate them with Detroit, but Ace Frehley was from NYC.
Facts. His one of his favorite top songs is "Back in New York Groove."
Yep.
That song I remember for the rest of my life. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the closest I came to seeing Kiss is I saw Ace Frehley about when he did his solo project, Frehley's Comet. This is after a couple years I graduated from high school. I must have seen this guy about is Frehley's Comet and Second Coming, stuff like that. I saw Ace Frehley, no exaggeration, at least 4 or 5 times in New York area. And ironically enough, during the times I bumped to one of my friends, Tony Salazar. It was the first time I saw Ace Frehley, and it was we did Frehley's Comet. We was people were so deep into Ace Frehley. People were moshing, people were body surfing. Not gonna lie, I was body surfing too. I'm not gonna lie. I bumped to one of my friends. I met one of my friends doing that. We was body surfing. We have to bump each other and all that. And it was what? Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
More recently, he was getting into doing conventions and meet and greets and stuff, and he was scheduled to do a big event this year, and he was also going to do a horror con in Chicago.
Yeah, I remember Kiss, Family Opera. I put this way, I was interested in Kiss already as a kid, but when I saw the movie Kiss and a family of not opera, but family amusement park, stuff like that, I'm going yeah. I got deep into Kiss. I still go back in high school. I went through a crappy time my junior year. I went my cesspool of high school. I was going from junior to senior year. One of my friends who's a huge Kiss fan, I gave him about a dozen cassette tapes. I told him, look, I know you got a dozen Kiss albums. Can you make me these copies of Kiss? all summer, that's all I did, listen to Kiss. Next thing you know, I went from being like a hip hop kid to a metalhead. That what you said,
Yeah.
but that's like I said, when I heard Ace Frehley passed away, I was like, wow, that's gonna hurt. That's
There,
really gonna.
the thing is with rock and roll and heavier metal and all that is it stands the test of time. You know, when you think about hip hop, rap, and all that,
Oh
and
yeah,
once the new song comes out, people forget about the last one. You know, that's how
won't
it is
lie.
with hip hop.
Well,
But rock and roll, you still hear it everywhere. No, the songs were played in the 70s and the 80s, and you're still hearing it 50, 40 years later. You know, it's
still
crazy how
sounds just as
that's the
good.
time.
Still
Country
sounds
music
just
I
as
never
good, as
got it.
people still love it,
What's that?
and people still love their music. Like I said, hip hop, rap. Once a new song come, old one's history. You say, oh, that's old news. I'm sorry,
Yep.
you gave me like for say a Kiss song like from the 70s, 80s, whatever. I would still love it. Period.
And the thing is with rap and hip hop is I'm not going to go into the details of what they say, but what they say in this new song is the same thing they were saying in the last song.
Pretty much. It's nothing new, nothing original. As
Now, in May of next year in 2026, there's a music festival in Ohio called Sonic Boom.
okay.
And next year, Ice T and Body Count will be performing at there. So I'm
Have you-
excited. I'm going to go check it out.
Yep.
And Ice T, he recently did work with Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, and they put
Woo.
out some songs together.
Okay, I'm gonna say two things about these two guys. Body Count, believe it or not, I saw when it first came to Lemoore's, where he was promoting the Cop Killer album. Funny
Yeah,
story with that one though. I think when me and a few friends went there, and no lie, this is no joke. This actually happened. I think one of the guys, his name is Eric Brenner, because here's what I want to kill over this. We was like waiting outside at Brooklyn Moors. It's like it's equivalent to the rock capital of the world. Like a lot of rock groups start there and tour from that point on. It's like a launch point for a lot of rock groups. And we was waiting, and no lie, bro. This is when Ice-T had a Cop Killer album. Two cops, NYPD cops, strobe by running in front of us. And the cops saying, hey, who's playing today? My friend Eric's like, Ice-T, who plays Cop Killer? Just like that. Our lips like, bro. Cops is
he
like,
snitched on him.
ugh. And the cop drove off. I looked at Eric and said, bro, if they will come after me, I would kick you behind. I'm
Yeah,
thinking like, the cops sound funny. But that's one. And with Dave Mustaine negative, I'm not sure you heard, Dave is going to retire soon, believe it or not.
yep. I'm going to try to get on that. Recently, when he has been coming to the United States with tours, I just haven't really been liking the band the bands that open up for him. And it's
Right.
just like, you know, I get bored with listening to some of the bands, and it's like it's a drag sometimes when you're just trying to get to the main. It's like if you go to a wrestling show and you're
Right.
excited for the main event, but you gotta sit through all the matches that you're really not interested in, but to get to the main event. But um
Right.
I've seen Megadeth countless times. I
Oh, same
haven't
here.
seen Body Count. The last time I seen Megadeth was I seen them with Metal Church, Suicidal
Mm.
Tendencies, and
Seen
Amon
them
Amarth.
both, man. Seen them both. Yep. Believe it or not, I've seen them both.
Yeah,
Tendencies was crazy back in the day. Metal Church, I seen them. Last time I seen them, they opened for Wasp with Blackie Lawless. That was wild.
I
That's a
love
wild show.
Lost. Every time, when I go home, I live in Texas. I always play Blind in Texas when I go home.
Yep.
That's my song.
I'll put it this way: when he came to New York, instead of playing Blind in Texas, he says he's blind in New York. I'm thinking like, I say that's cool, man. That's cool.
I didn't know you wrote the song for other cities like that. That's cool. That is cool though. Last time he came through was right after the pandemic in
Hmm.
Texas, but they couldn't go on with the show because they oversold the show in ticket wise. They exceeded the
Whoa,
amount of people in there for the fire code or whatever, so they had to cancel the show.
that sucks. That sucks. They
Yeah.
don't want to do the same. They don't want to do the same thing that Diddy once did. He overbooked the show. and caused like a stampede. People got hurt and killed. So I understand why they like canceled the show. I understand why.
Yeah. I don't blame them for doing it. Just it is what it is.
Well, for safety reasons, I mean, for safety reasons, I get that. I know people could be disappointed, but I'd rather have them be alive to see other shows and opposed to getting killed and all that.
Yeah,
But one of the things I want to talk about is infidelity. This one here I found recently, and then it's funny, but you know how people cheat and try to have excuses why they cheat, and I'm going seriously, you serious here? But this one talks about this wife got busted by her husband being on Tinder. I know you're not sure you've seen it or not, but I'm about to show it to you because I'm going this is not happening, but it's for real. So hang on tight. Try to bring this one up right about here. This I call husband busted wife of 11 years on Tinder. And one more thing, she just gave birth 6 weeks
Hey,
prior.
honey.
What?
There's something wrong with the TV.
There's something wrong with the TV?
Yeah.
And why are you calling me? Because you're the tech guy. Aren't you getting an IT degree?
There's something stuck on the screen.
Okay.
Care to explain why you have a Tinder profile?
Not right now, no. I don't care to get into why I'm so miserable in our marriage that I feel like I had to get a Tinder account with our kids around. Okay, I'm trying to give them a bath. You're literally holding our 6-week-old baby. No. I'm not trying to explain this right now. When the kids go to bed, sure. We'll talk later though. Not right now.
Oh,
I seen that video probably I would say a week or so ago, and seeing it now refresh my memory on it.
right.
2 things I seen wrong with this video. So
Right.
she's had this Tinder account. That baby sounded like a newborn. That means she's had that Tinder account for a while. If you're that happy in a relationship, what are you doing bringing a baby into the relationship? That should be one of the last things you should be thinking about, because all that's going to do is create a whole nother mess. And the second thing I take from this is, I don't want to sound like people oh, sexist, this and that, but one thing women extremely lack is accountability. They don't
Trust
take
me.
accountability for their
Facts.
actions. They don't apologize. They
Facts.
don't just own up to what they did, apologize, and move on. They got to find a way to manipulate the situation and turn around and be the victim and point the finger at the man.
Always. The sad part, not all women do that, but a lot of them do. And
Yeah.
worst case scenario, they would try to encourage other women not to be held accountable or take responsibility. That makes it worse. I got
Good.
I got a second video of this woman trying to justify it. And I'm like, you can't be serious. I'm going nah. But check this out. I'm going are you serious? But check this out.
We would talk. So let's talk. It's been almost a whole day and we haven't even talked to each other.
I mean, what do you want me to say? That I'm sorry I have a Tinder profile? I'm sorry. Okay.
I mean, why do you have one?
I don't know. I don't know. We've been together for almost 11 years. I don't know. Maybe
The best you can say, I don't know, we've been 11 years, we'll do something different. Okay, how about taking up pottery? How about rock climbing? How about taking up hobby? I don't think making a Tinder account after you gave birth while married for 11 years. Not 1 to 11 years. Well,
They
it gets
don't even
better,
look
bro.
like they've been adults for 11 years.
Well, it gets better. Check this out. It gets better. Check this out.
maybe I just wanted to try something new. I mean, I guess
Okay, let me repeat that one more time.
years. I don't know. Maybe I just wanted to try something new. I mean, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, 11 years. Why wouldn't you just say something? You make a Tinder instead of talking to your husband of 11 years?
Duh.
Because what if I made a Tinder and then I came to you and I was like, hey, I don't want to be together anymore, and then we split and we've got the kids, and then I didn't like anything that I found on Tinder. At least if I didn't say anything and you didn't find me, then at least I still had this to come back to.
To come back to?
Yeah.
That's it. We're done.
You heard this, right? You hear this, right?
Yeah, she wanted to explore her options out there first before ending the relationship.
That's scary because the funny part, she's not the first one to do it. This is not original. This is not new. A lot of women do that. You hear the famous line, I want to explore my options. You're married. If you explore your options, stay single. Don't get pregnant.
That is crazy, especially with a newborn. A newborn
Thank
baby.
you. But the funny thing is, like, the guy did other videos because the guy's not getting petty. He made her like a shirt with the profile. He made her explain to her relatives what she did. She getting upset. My thing is this, bro. He got evidence all day long. All you gotta do, like, look, divorce lawyer. Here's the video evidence. Here's a to the profile. You know, and I think they showed one video that he kicked her out. He said, "Oh, the kid need me. The kid need me. Look, the kid be fine. I'll take care of the baby." And all that. And he did kick her out. She must have begged like crazy because I think in part 5, she came back. She said, I'll make it up to you, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing, though, bro. That relationship would never be the same again. That is a guarantee. There's no way he could go back to trust her easily. For every time she picks up the phone, he's going to wonder who she's talking to. Every time she steps out the door, she's going to wonder who she's going to meet up with. That thing of trust, something like once that trust is gone, good luck getting it back. It's going to be super hard, if not near impossible. And the fact she doesn't take accountability. Come again?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but my biggest thing is there's always going to be that tension in the room.
Always, always, no question about it. I think the saddest thing is that nobody wins. I think the person who loses the most is the child. You know, my feeling that kid is going to be raised in an environment where, you know, like mom and dad's not gonna be the same. And I don't care what anyone says, though. I think down the line they're gonna break it off permanently.
Yeah. Like I said, you're bringing a kid into the world, and if you're not happy, what are you doing? Like they didn't even look like they were 11 years past being the age of 18. Anyways, they looked like they were in their mid 20s. They looked very, very young, and
yeah.
You got to be careful. Like, I'm not sitting there justifying for people going crazy, but you do got to watch who you betray because sometimes their actions and how they retaliate can be way beyond their control. I was watching a video earlier today where a man, he was cheated on by his wife, and they went out into the yard or whatever there in the driveway, and he shot her in the face. Now, he only got 10 years for that. 10 years in prison. That's how much time he got. They said it was like it wasn't like a homicide or a murder. It was a different term to it. I forgot what the exact term was, but I mean, I'm not seeing justifying what the guy does. All I'm trying to say is just watch who you betray because you don't know what their intentions are going to be after.
Facts. That's good. Well, it's called crime of passion as well. My thing is this, though.
That's
crime of passion, right?
Yep, that's what it was.
I believe it. But the sad thing is that there's a difference between how a man loves and a woman loves. A woman will love a man for what he can provide for her. Don't get me wrong. There are women who do really sincerely love their man. They look past the material things and they see what's in the man's heart and spirit. They exist. Not a lot of them, but a lot of them exist. But majority of women love what the man can do for her. And if the man can provide her, like, you know, like get her like new bags, new shoes, nice car, nice house, nice neighborhood, oh, she would love him. But the moment he goes through some rough times and all that stuff, that could change. A man will really, really love his woman. He'd be like the top tier guy going for all these different women. He finds out one woman, he'll forget the others and be with this one woman. Another problem I have with some of these modern women, they have forgotten what vows meant. These vows should be forever, not because whenever the wind changes. I mean, every time it's a vow, like, you know, you want to take this person for better, for worse, sickness, health, and all that. That's not like something that is debatable in negotiations. It's like either A, you will, or B, you don't.
Yeah. And I just want to throw out there too. I'm sure if there's any women that watch this and they're just like, well, I don't do that. I don't whatever, It's like, then this ain't about you. I mean, if you're feeling that way, if you got some sort of guilty conscience to what we're saying, maybe it is about you. But we're just speaking towards the majority of what we've experienced and what we've seen. Now, if you're someone out there that's good in relationships and all that, then hey, kudos to you. But this ain't about you.
Exactly. If it doesn't fit you, don't worry about it. But there's some women who feel like, we would do what we want to do because they think like, well, I got a good job, I get paid X amount of dollars. And the women keep thinking like, that should be this great flex. And here's
Yeah.
the thing. And there are women who refer to like to have a career over having a relationship. Their mistake was they think like, well, once I get this career going on, like say I get to my mid 30s or early 40s, I would find a future husband. Good luck. Because the men you looking for, ladies, will not be looking for you, or worse, they'll want you back. Men like say, I'll be honest, men like in their mid 30s, early 40s, they want to start a family. Women actually got mad because men from the mid 30s, early 40s want to start a family. They're gonna look towards younger women. Younger women will have no kids, will have been ran through the streets. These older
Yeah.
women who's in their 30s and 40s getting mad. Why? Because they want kids. And this is
Yeah.
not me slamming against, and just so you know, folks, I am not slamming all single moms. A lot of single moms came from long-term relationships and all that. Some were married, all that. I'm not talking about these baby mamas who have like 3, 4 kids from 3 or 4 different baby daddies. And you expect the man to pick up the slack?
When I was doing Uber in Dallas, I didn't know what ADD was, right? I didn't know what the term ADD. I didn't know it was like a medical condition. And I
Amazing.
picked up a lady and she had 3 kids with her. And she said, "Oh, my kids, they're good. They just got ADD." I'm like, "What does that mean? All different daddies?" She didn't like that. I got a bad review. I thought that's what it meant. I didn't mean anything disrespectful by it, but that's just a generation we're in now to where we can safely assume that the multiple kids with a one woman, it's normal for them to have different dads. This is the hookup generation. The
Facts.
generation we're in, women want material items and men only want to sleep with them. So men buy the women the material items to get what they want and they move on with their lives. And sometimes along the way, a baby happens. That's, I mean, it's sad to think that, but that's reality.
Well, the sad thing is that they let these like here's the funny thing. These women will ignore top quality men who would make them wives. They would ignore them for like the first bad boy, the first guy who's a you're right, Joe?
Yeah, I'm just taking a drink of water.
Okay, no problem, no problem. But these they will go for the worst quality men, and these they will give their best. Like some of these young women give their best years to the worst males, and then like after they get like ran through the streets and all that stuff, after they ran through like a track meet in the Olympics, and God bless they have like about a couple of kids, they decide to look to the good guy who actually like has a good job, has a house and a car, and a good future. Then they look towards the direction. They say, "Oh, this is what I want now." I'm sorry, ladies. If you're like say in your early 20s, that is the best time for you to find that good man, that good life. For some sort of reason, stability and peace equates to boredom to them. So, and sad part, some women prefer to have a life full of a drama. I'm sorry, men right now, they know about that. Men is about peace. I mean,
We're at
come
a
again?
point where we're at a point where, and with our age, now I know you're in your situation. I'm happy for you, but a majority of American women, what we're saying is actually mainly strictly towards American women. And you're either going to date a woman that's ugly or you're going to be a stepdad. That's, I mean, it is what it is. Those are
This is
your
what I
two.
see. These are the 3 options men have right now in the United States and was Western civilization. One, you gotta be about your purpose, stay single, keep your peace. I made a motto called peace over drama, meaning like, as much you want to have a wife or girlfriend, if you're alone, think of it this way, though. You get to come home from work. If you play video games, you could do that in peace. You want to watch TV, you can watch TV in peace. You want to read a book, you can do that in peace. You can do all that, hang out with your friends, do whatever. You have your peace of mind. That's one. Two, you got to work 10 times harder and pray you can find a woman who's somewhat similar to your grandmother and great-grandmother in terms of virtue and value and all that. These women are fast disappearing. Or three, like I did, I said, forget this, grab a passport, go across seas. There are women across the seas who's way more traditional than the women here.
Yeah.
And
I
women,
think that's becoming the way to do it. And it ain't even a race thing here in this country anymore. It's all the same women with a different shade of skin. That's all it is nowadays. It ain't about black, Hispanic, Asian, white here in this country. It's all the same thing with a different skin tone. They're all raising the same thing. They get, I don't want to say brainwashed or hypnotized, but they look up to these female rappers who are no good. They sit there and rap about their private parts and all that stuff the whole time, and they wonder why men don't respect them. And oh, you gotta respect this. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to respect you just because you're a woman. You got to give me something to respect.
Thank you. I think the best example in terms like the most ratchet, for me, 3 of the ratchet female rappers, I'm not sure you heard them. One is Glorilla. I'm not going to go into like the lyrics and the songs together to that. Glorilla is one. Sexy Red's another one. And Sukiyana is another one. Sexy Red have a makeup line named after STDs. Why?
And then
yeah,
you got, I didn't know who that last one was that you mentioned. I've heard of the other 2, but then also you got Mega Stallion and Cardi B. Cardi B saying in her words, "Oh, I don't cook, I don't clean," but it's like, then what are you good for? What you're implying that you provide, I can get that anywhere. What makes you stand different? Yeah, what makes you stand out compared to anyone else?
I can guarantee what she's gonna tell you. Well, I got the looks. I'm good in bed. I work for a lot of money, and I'm sorry.
I can buy my own stuff.
That's I laugh because like I put it this way: if you see the men that Cardi B and Nicki Minaj had, you're gonna fall over laugh. I'm going like, that's the best you can do. I'd say have at it, have at it. But like I said, though, these women demand respect. Sorry about that. These women demand respect, but they don't even respect themselves. That's the funniest thing.
And not only that, they brag about all this stuff, but not even they can hold down a man. You see, they go through guys too like crazy. I mean, they're athletes and rappers and stuff that are hooking up with them and whatnot. It's like, if you're that good, don't you think you could hold someone down too?
Barely they can't. They're not all that. I forgot there's a podcast I saw about these women talk about they try to encourage men to marry a 304. And I'm like, why? And I'm going like, why? Because she's so great in bed. But here's the problem: 304s do get married, but they're usually the first ones to get divorced. Because either they're not happy or they're bored. Or most importantly, they're for the streets.
Or that there's a financial gain that they see in it.
True.
A lot of women nowadays, they use men as a financial plan.
Sad but true. But like,
you go and drop out 4 or 5 kids, and they use those kids for child support and tax returns and all that stuff. And look, when COVID was going on, look at all the women that were quick to get babies, just because they found out that they could get more money in stimulus checks just for having a baby. So now all these women are going out getting pregnant so they can get an extra little payday for having a baby.
Sad. That's sad. That's just downright sad, man. It is.
And then eventually the baby ends up in a foster care and whatnot, because a baby's not made out of love, it's made out of profit. A baby made out of profit is never going to benefit in any type of situation that's made from. I also want to make a claim that I know a lot of people are against abortions, and I am too. But I do want to say if you are caught in this country getting an abortion, you should be made to get fixed. If you kill one baby, you should not be allowed to have another baby.
You
You
already know
know,
what they're gonna say. You already know what they're gonna say, bro. I can guarantee I know what they're gonna say. My body, my choice. I guarantee that's what women are gonna say. My body, my choice. I promise you. That's the first thing they're gonna be screaming about.
and guess what? I'm going to say, well, that's how I felt when y'all were telling me to get a vaccine. My body, my choice.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's exactly my thoughts right there. It's kind of funny what comes to that. You gotta get this shot. You gotta get this shot. And no, we don't have to get this shot. You want to say you gotta get this shot. No. Like I said, people are tired of being the guinea pigs in this situation. They're done. I can't blame them one bit. That's just nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just the way it is nowadays. We live in a world that's materialized and sexualized. It sucks that we as a community here in the United States, we can't do anything without throwing it online and bragging about it and hoping for acceptance of it from people we don't even know. And whoever looks the coolest and the flashiest online is who everyone wants to hook up with and link up with, and most of the time those people are lying about what they got. Your stuff freeze out. Oh shit. What's up, chat? I think we lost Jeff for a minute. He's probably just loading back up. I think he's loading back up. We gotta see my mug shot for a little bit till he gets back on here. So how about that No King's Day, huh? It's crazy how the people are crying about us having a king. They say we have a king, are the ones that were telling us you must wear a mask. You must take this vaccine. You must stay 6 feet away from people. You must do this. You must do that. That sounds like some king speech to me. Not very good. I think Jeff lost signal. Hold on, I'm gonna check out real quick.
Okay. Hopefully Joe is still here. Let him know I'm back. Before I go on, I want to talk about another thing that these women have. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, they hate Trump so much. They'd rather see this country burn to the ground than have Trump try to help this country. That's pretty sad. It's downright sad indeed. See, Joe comes back here. But one thing I want to talk about quickly, though, is on oh wow, okay, hold on. If I guess, copy, go back. Okay, hope I get back, Joe. Yes, Joe lost connection temporarily. Okay, hold on. Just waiting for Joe patiently. Try one more time. I guess. Copy. Hang tight, Joe. Hang tight. Joe, can you hear me? Hold it. I think. Yes. Woo!
We're back.
Sorry about that. Back in the New York groove.
I went to go look at your Facebook page just to watch to see when it was back up, so I knew when to join back.
Okay, like I said, before I go to the about the ICE attacks, this what I think I heard of though about the Tylenol situation with Trump. Like, there's some people say there's some facts say that women who are pregnant shouldn't be taking Tylenol that might cause some problems in the pregnancy. And women are going bonkers. It's not like you take one aspirin, you're gonna have a problem with it, but you just gotta watch this video because when I saw that thing, like, is this person that dumb? And this person is pregnant. That's the part that freaks me out. This person is pregnant. Bro, you gotta check this out. Okay, you can clearly see, Joe, not one, not two, 3 different bottles of Tylenol, and you can tell she's pregnant. And what she does, check this out.
So let's think about what's happening. Trump says there are concerns about Tylenol, like pregnant women shouldn't be taking it or whatever. There are multiple ways that you can take what's been said. But to keep it simple, at the end of the day, he said, don't take Tylenol. And he is saying that out of an abundance of caution for mothers and their children. So he's saying that to make people's lives better, to possibly have less issues with autism. Now, whether he's right or wrong is debatable. There's science that goes both ways on that. But what he's saying isn't even political. This is more about how do we keep people more healthy? How do we decrease autism rates? And you have women that are coming out here pregnant, taking Tylenol just to spite Trump. They're not thinking, well, what if he's right? Let me act out of abundance of caution and maybe try to avoid taking this while I'm pregnant. It's better safe than sorry. No, they're going to oppose Donald Trump. That's what they're going to do. Their opposition to Donald Trump is stronger than the care for their child, I would argue. Because again, even if you don't like Donald Trump and he's saying this, and there is some science behind it, if you want the best for your child, wouldn't you be more careful? Instead of go straight to the internet and start posting yourself taking Tylenol just to spite Trump, like it's going to harm him, like it's you and your child. But I think this also points to something larger. Why does she want to oppose Trump so much, even if he's trying to help her? Because think about that. He's trying to help her and her child, and she's just opposing him and spiting him simply because he's Trump. This is what I'm talking about by many people on the left opposing Trump because it's Trump. Doesn't matter what it is, we have to oppose Trump because he's evil, orange, and bad. And we're going to get on the internet and act like we're doing something cool because we're doing exactly what Trump said don't do when Trump is trying to help them. Again, it just shows the mentality behind many people on the left. It is oppose Donald Trump at all costs, even if it cost me or my child. It's pretty pathetic when you think about it. Also, just a reminder, I have a free email newsletter where I give you morning updates about what's going on.
Give out a shout out to Jeffrey Mead. The guy has a lot of good content. You'd be surprised.
This is one of the only places I cannot be censored. It's a great place to get more in-depth information from me. The link is on my profile. Just go there, click the link. You'll see this screen here. Drop your email in, hit subscribe, and you'll be good to go. Anyway, that's all I got for now.
Now, here's the thing. You saw 3 bottles of Tylenol, 3 different types. One is taking a risk. She took like up to 3 to what? Sticking to Trump? Bro, you know what it's like? It's like me drinking poison and expect the other person to die. That's how stupid and crazy it is.
That baby that comes out is going to be looking like Sloth from the Goonies. You know, that's just, I don't want to speak down on anyone's kids or babies or anything like that, but we're going to see a high rate of babies now over the next couple of years that are going to be coming out.
Autistic,
Really
or
messed up.
it's going to be having some type of, not so much as autistic, or some type of medical problems, because you got these mothers who so against Trump, they'd rather harm themselves and the babies, but this was not political. It's not.
There's going to be stuff that gets like medical terms that get made up that we didn't even know existed from this stuff because of how bad the babies are going to be born. One person I absolutely love listening to, and if Trump wasn't running for president in 2024, I would have voted for him. That's RFK. He's a very, very intelligent man, especially when it comes to science and health with the body. Look at the guy. He's 80 years old and he's freaking jacked. I don't know anyone that's 80 years old that's as jacked and as mobile and as coherent as he is. You put him next to Joe Biden and it looks like, why did we induct this guy over the other guy for president? You know, it's just, do you listen to like a lot of full podcasts?
It depends which ones, though. From time to time, from time to time, yeah.
He did a podcast with Joe Rogan, like back in 2023, I think it was, and it was just, I liked that one more than I did Trump's podcast, to be honest with you, that Trump did with Joe Rogan. And he was just very informative with it, and he was talking a lot about stuff, you know. So where I live at in Texas, I used to drive past a spot almost every single day where JFK was killed. You know, it was right in downtown Dallas, and that the Kennedys are big there. We got the Kennedy Space Station and all that stuff in Texas. But it's just he made a mention that another thing that's bad with these babies is when mothers are pregnant, they're told that they can't eat tuna because tuna contains high levels of mercury that are harmful to the baby. But as soon as that baby is born, what do? They go and inject the heck out of the baby with all these different vaccines. They even they give them like hepatitis vaccines and all that stuff. If the mother isn't positive for hepatitis, what are you doing injecting a baby with anti-hepatitis vaccines?
In fact, the mother.
What's that?
I'm about to say normally the baby get the antibodies for the mothers. They get the immune system straight for the mothers.
Yep. And when a baby is out the womb, it can't get hepatitis unless if there's sexual contact. You know, so if a baby coming out the womb doesn't have hepatitis, but then it ends up getting hepatitis, that means there's some sick stuff that happened.
I'm about to say, yeah.
And I mean, God, I don't want to, it's like violence on your stuff, but there needs to be an execution done then, you know, like that I don't get why there's certain things that we need to give babies right away out the womb. I mean, I know there's some preventatives that are good and whatnot, but you know, back in the 80s, there's a whole administration for vaccines, right? And they pressured Ronald Reagan into signing this bill where if you pass away from a vaccine, your family cannot sue that vaccine company for killing you. That is, and you sign a waiver form when you get that vaccine. Hey, if anything happens to you, it's on you. That's why I never once went and got the COVID vaccine. Never once got it, and I've been living just fine. I've gotten COVID. I got COVID once the whole time, and I was perfectly fine after a few days. I never got the vaccine, and you know what I do for work? I'm around the country every single day, and
Yep.
I'm in and out of places all over the country, and I've only gotten it once, and I got it at an AEW show. That's where I got it. The last time I went to an AEW show, I got COVID in Texas, and that was it. I mean, we need you think back to like prior generations before us, you didn't really see too many people with autism or Down
Right.
syndrome, or people having all these allergens to like peanuts and whatnot. But once that bill passed in the 80s, and then all these kids and stuff started getting injected with these vaccines, now you're looking at the generation from that now. All these kids have allergies, ADHD, they're all I don't want to. They're not stupid, but they're slower. They're not as sharp thinking wise as prior
Or they can't,
generations.
or they can't focus. Like you got people who are really smart, but because of that condition they have because of the vaccines, it kind of like screws them up.
Yep, yep. Or they like just want to sit and play like video games all day. Like I ain't got nothing against people playing video games or anything like that. I play when I can myself, but you can look at someone and you can tell now that they sit behind a video, like they look like they haven't showered in 10 days or like very greasy. It just their cognitive just isn't all there. And I think that's
Right.
from over injections of vaccines.
Exactly. One thing is this though. It's one thing you get some like childhood shots like measles, mumps, different things like that, but things like hepatitis are going like, okay, now you're going for the overkill. And now
Yep.
you got these they don't forget kids got COVID shots too. So I'm kind of worried what's gonna happen to them.
Pregnant women too.
Scary, very scary.
Mm-hmm. You don't
But
want
they
pregnant women taking Tylenol, but they got to take these COVID shots. I was watching a documentary back in, I think it was late 2022, early 2023. I picked up this passenger. We were he was a cool dude. We were talking about God a lot. And then we got on the topic of the COVID stuff, and he put me onto this documentary, and I was watching this documentary about all these people that were just dropping like flies. Now, when the people that would prep the body of the person that died, they would go in to inject the formaldehyde and all that stuff inside the body. But what they were finding out is something was blocking the formaldehyde from getting through the body. They would look at where the vaccine was injected from, and they were pulling things out that was looking like a seaweed type material. That was
ooh,
blockage from stuff that was in the vaccines at that person's body, couldn't fully, flush through the rest of the system. And that's what was causing a lot of heart attacks, seizures, strokes, and that's what people were dying from. Remember Damar Hamlin? The
pretty not.
He was a football player for the Buffalo Bills. He went to go get tackled on a field,
Right.
and he collapsed. He died. He had to be resuscitated on the field. He missed, I think, like a year's worth of playing time or whatever. But
Wow.
that was a big thing. He had just gotten a COVID vaccine done that week. And he collapsed on the field, and he was dead on national television. In Monday Night Football, almost the whole world's watching. He died right on television.
Sad. I strongly believe that this COVID thing was not a mistake. This thing was not a mistake. Call me the guy with a tinfoil hat. This is not no coincidence about how COVID came about. I think this was on purpose. And
It
the
was to
scary
rig
part, they try to
an
make us.
it was to rig an election. Because don't you notice that as soon as the election was done, they started cleaning it up, and within a couple years, everything was back to normal again.
Yeah, but the problem is like it was the Democrats was in control, and life as we know it was never be the same. And
Yep.
here's the funniest thing though. As of recently, less recent years, ever since Trump won, they were ticked. They ticked off. They
Yep.
felt like, oh, Trump's gonna be this racist, blah blah blah. Trump got a wide variety of people working with him. He got Asian, black. He got former Democrats working with him. Are you serious?
Yep.
And here's the funniest thing: the more these people on the left run their mouths, make these death threats, but the biggest thing that shocked people, I'm still like shaking my head, is what happened to Charlie Kirk. That's the biggest one as of recent years. And the people are cheering and happy he's gone. People making jokes like, well, you should get the same treatment as Charlie Kirk because the man have a difference of opinion.
And look at you being someone that's of color in this country, and you start to express your feelings towards Trump and whatnot. All of a sudden, a white Democrat is going to sit here and call you all these offensive words. But at
And
the same time, but then they go and turn the other cheek and they go running down the street with the Black Lives Matter sign. No, the only lives that matter to you are the ones that share the same opinions as you.
thank you. Thank you.
That's all.
Exactly.
Those are the only lives to you that matter. That's why I say to every single one of them. I say every life matters besides
Thank you.
those that do mess up stuff like rape someone, murder someone. Their lives don't matter. But outside of that, everyone's life matters.
But here's the funny thing, though, that the Democrats supposed to be about peace, love, acceptance, tolerance, and the way they run their mouths to make these death threats, say these ungodly things, prove the opposite. But you think about it, though, this explains why the Democrats lost so badly. They depended on Kamala Harris because she's a woman of color. That's not it. Number one, there was no primary for the Democrats. You noticed that there was no primary? They just picked her. They just picked, like, okay, you'll be the next person. And guess what? It didn't go the way it didn't go the way they wanted. Too bad for them.
Kamala Harris was a DEI hire from the start, from 2020 right up until the next election. When she ran for the primary in 2020, she had the worst numbers out of every Democratic candidate that ran for president. She was dead last in the polls. And then when it came time for Joe Biden to pick who he wanted as his primary or as his vice president, he went with Kamala because he felt like she would stir the black vote and the women vote. She was a DEI hire. And then what did the Democrats do as soon as they found out? I think they knew for a while Joe Biden wasn't it. They were just in the backgrounds figuring out what to do. And I think they were still going to go with Kamala Harris just because she was a black woman. Now, I do not care what someone's race, ethnicity, or gender is, any of that BS. If you're qualified to do the job, by all means. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm just going to hire you because you're black, because you're Hispanic, because you're white, etc. I used to hire drivers to drive some of my vehicles around the country. I didn't hire people based on race. I've had white drivers. I've had black drivers. If you can get the job done, I'm going to hire you. I'm not going to sit there and run my business based off a racial quota.
Exactly. The sad thing is that when they choose Kamala Harris, they kind of sealed their doom because you're going to tell me of all the Democratic candidates you could pick, to replace Joe Biden, the best you could pick is Kamala Harris? And this is why the other people for the Democrat Party left the Democrats. It's like, you know what, we're done. Because it got to a point where you gotta hate Trump to be a Democrat. Or if because I'm black, I gotta be a Democrat. And I'm saying, no, I walked away from that Democrat plantation a long time ago. I was done. And I'm not the only one. In fact, the number of black people leaving the Democrat Party is so huge, they call it Blexit. I know you heard. You heard.
Charlie Kirk created that. That was
I
that
didn't
was
know.
that was founded by Charlie Kirk. What Charlie Kirk did was he started an organization and he hired black people. And he hired them because they knew how to connect with black youth. And he sent them into inner cities to connect with black youth so they can teach them how to think more freely for themselves and not just what the narrative is that's being thrown at them through like media, movies, politics, rappers, music, their friends. They taught them how to be more free thinking. And that whole organization was started by Charlie Kirk.
The legacy of Charlie Kirk. You know what I think though too? I heard this video uploaded, and I can't but wonder because his wife asked Charlie if he was, for example, run for office, what would be the one thing he would focus on if he was to run for office, become president? And guess what Charlie said? Revive the American family.
Yeah.
You know how terrifying that sounds to the Democrats? They think, oh no, they're going after marginalized people. No, not it, geniuses. It's not by going after marginalized people. No, it's not. Charlie Kirk is not going to try to take down the alphabet people. He's not going to take that. He's going to focus on the American family. He's trying to make it where like it is good to get married. It is good to be a parent. These days, yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but Democrats don't like a two-parent family, meaning a woman, mother, a dad, father. Not trans parents, not gay parents, not lesbian parents, not single parents. They don't like the idea of two normal parents because one, a single parent is going to become more dependent on the government. They're going to be looking for food stamps, welfare, housing, etc. And they like when people are like that because now they got you by it's like the puppet master. They can
By the
control
strings.
what you do because they control whether your family eats the next day. That's why
Exactly.
Democrats want to sit there and control and take away. They take the father out of the picture. That's why all these female rappers and all that, they're getting praised through mainstream media. I was sickened when I had to see Cardi B at SummerSlam. I didn't like that. That was just one aspect of it that I didn't like seeing just because of my moral views. But it's just they put these industry plants out there to try to stir women away from the man and to cheat on them and to do what they got to do to make the women more dependent on the government.
This is going to end up happening down the line though, because right now a lot of the boomers, they're going to be disappearing like crazy. Like, you know, the sound of the generation, the greatest generation ever, the generation that served in World War II, they're almost gone. Let's face it, they're almost gone. If you could count about like a couple, maybe a few thousand left, I'd be surprised. The boomers are not that far behind. You know, then my first question is what's going to happen next? Because after the boomers, it'd be us, Generation Xers. And my point is, though, like the population is going to start to go down because less people are getting married, less people are having kids. And here's the thing: I can't blame the men for not wanting to get married because there's no benefit for any man getting married here in this country unless you find an exceptional woman who's not trying to be super pro-feminist, meaning like it's got to be about me, whatever, whatever, and be more about for pro-family and all that stuff. More and more men are saying, forget it. And don't be surprised if more men start to leave the country. More men are going to Mexico. More men going to Mexico, South America. Some people go to Africa. Some guys go to Africa. Some people go to Southeast Asia to find more traditional lives with their wives.
Yeah. What was I going to say? So, yeah, have you ever listened to someone named Myron Gaines?
Yes.
I've been listening to him a lot lately, but he goes and does some things that are very similar to what Charlie Kirk did at the college campuses.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a bit more colorful. He's not as religious as Charlie Kirk. So he's a bit more
Right.
colorful in what he says. But you go there and straight up tell gay people and bisexual people, whatever, he's like, you're useless to society. You demand everything from society, but you literally contribute nothing. You don't contribute anything to society. You're out here praising around in the street. You want rights, this and that. What rights don't you have that a straight person has? You're able to get married. You're able to adopt a baby, which you shouldn't. That baby's going to grow up in a very with a very confused mind. There's things that you get to do that straight people also do. Tell me what rights a gay person doesn't have that a straight person has. I'm almost at a point where if this country had a zombie apocalypse like The Walking Dead, I'm sure Democrats would preach for zombie rights.
You know what? Scary thing is, I agree with you. They say like, well, zombies are people. I believe you. Well, here's the funny thing: if Trump was to say, "I bet you money," if Trump was to say, protect the zombies," watch the Democrats say, "Kill them all." The moment Trump says anything, the liberal Democrats would do the opposite. Like, protect the zombies. The Democrats say, "Kill them all."
Yeah. A lot of people say like, "Oh, if I had a time machine, I'm gonna go back in time and take out baby Hitler or whatever." Me personally, I don't know if I could kill a baby. But just knowing what that baby was, this or that, I would literally hire a progressive woman to go do it. I mean, they seem to be the ones that are comfortable with killing babies. They
Clearly.
to abortions and all that
Well,
stuff. It's like,
I got a question for you though. Let's say in the process of getting rid of Hitler, and let's say you take out Hitler, how do we know nobody worse than Hitler will come as an end result?
that is true as well.
So it's like
Um,
there's, yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying Hitler did anything good or anything like
no,
that, but the European countries were way different than what they are now. There's countries that were around back then that aren't around anymore just because of the dividing and conquering of land. You know how much of Europe was Germany and how much of Europe was France and
right?
Jerusalem and all that. And I'm just wondering what the map and the geographical landscape of Europe would be without, the Nazis and whatnot.
Well, I'll put it this way though. Right now, the way Europe right now, Europe is pretty much screwed because they have the immigration problem, and Trump. At least Trump got the stones to stand up to say, no, we're not gonna let this country go the way of Europe, though. Trump is like, I got to segue to the ICE thing because he had ICE do the job, but the local law enforcement will not do. And the Democrats are fighting him every step of the way. So you're going to tell me that if someone's going to come here and take the criminals out of your city, you're going to stop them? Are you serious?
I was watching a video, I'm going to say 2 or so weeks ago. I'll send it to you, but it was of a court trial in the UK. So when you get arrested in the UK, it doesn't get dragged out like here in the United States. Once you get arrested, you go see the judge, you have your trial right there, and then you have your sentencing. This person that was a citizen of the UK made a comment on Facebook saying, "Hey, these guys that are coming here, they're raping and they're killing people here." That guy that put that on Facebook, he got sentenced to 2 years in their prison just for putting that on Facebook.
Question, was it a lie? That's my question. Was it a lie? That's my question.
But that's the thing too. They don't care if it's truth or not. Was it hate speech or not? That's what they care about. But who gets to determine what hate speech is? Right? Like, is it okay, this word hurt your feelings, now it's hate speech, but what if the word didn't hurt my feelings? I personally, I don't want people to be censored. I want people to show who they truly are because then I know if I should associate with that person or not. If someone
Right.
hides behind a censor or scared to say what they want to say because they're afraid of consequences, I don't like that because that means they're hiding who they really are. I want to
Yeah,
hear someone say racist stuff so I know not to associate with them. I don't want
exactly.
someone to be like, oh, I'm not going to say that. That's racist, this or that. Well, you had a racist intention, so I don't want to associate with you.
Exactly.
Simple as
Exactly.
that.
But this is why I'm glad like Trump is in office right now, because if the Democrats were still in power, trust me, they would tighten the grip on censorship on people. In other
Oh,
words, so if for the Democrats, it's either A, you agree with us, or you're against us. It's like it's our way or the highway. But here's the biggest difference between like the liberal Democrats and Republicans. When Charlie Kirk got assassinated, you notice there was no riots, no burning of buildings, no destruction of businesses and all that stuff. There were, believe it or not, in stadiums there have been revivals, prayers, and all that, and people are stepping up doing what Charlie Kirk is doing. There's
yep,
this guy. I'm not sure. There's a guy by the name of DJ Delay or whatever. He's like a former inmate. And he's like does a lot of podcasts, and he tried to do something similar to Charlie. And this guy, he's not Republican, he's not Democrat. He's like one of those guys who's not into politics. He getting
yep,
death threats. He's getting death threats from the left. And this guy trying to open up a conversation for both sides, but this guy getting death threats from the left like crazy. And this is what the guy says. Like, you know what? You treat me like I'm the enemy. Guess what? Now I am. And I'm thinking like, oh, because every time that these liberal Democrats start making death threats to people, you're not proving that you're the good guys. You're only proving the opposite.
I was an independent voter before Trump. The first year I was legally old enough to vote was the Romney and Obama election, and I didn't like either one of them. I voted for Ron Paul. That's who I
Right.
voted for that election. That's just who I stood with morally and who I felt was the best candidate that I got to hear speak. Even though I felt like, oh, if I vote for it, he's not going to win anyways. Well, I would just went with who I felt justified to vote for, whether I think they were going to win or not.
Right.
Um, when Trump ran, no one gave him a solid chance. I wanted Trump to win from the very minute he said he was running for president. That's my guy. Whether people were like, oh, they were laughing at him, Obama was laughing at him. You know what made Trump run for president? There was a dinner that was held back in 2012. I forgot what the occasion was of that dinner, but at that dinner, people kept going up and talking mad smack about Trump. Obama, that's when he made the comment because Trump said something about Obama's birth certificate.
Oh
And then
yeah.
Obama said, well, Trump, I am something that you are not, and that is a president. And then a bunch of comedians and stuff went up there and they were just throwing jokes at Trump the whole time. You could see in his face, like, all right, I got you guys. Fast forward 4 years later, he runs for president. Guess
And
what?
wins.
He becomes the best president of my lifetime. He's done
Our
more.
lifetime. Yep.
Yeah, he's done more, and I'm not even counting his first term, and just these. What I want to say, it's been about 11, 10 months since he's been in office now, and he's done more in those months than any president has done in a 4-year span.
Yep. I mean,
He
here's the funny thing.
ended wars. He stopped world wars from happening.
Thank you.
He cleaned
Thank
up
you.
the immigration in this country, or not the immigration, the illegals in this country.
But the Democrats don't want to hear about it. I remember watching CNN, and they had to say Trump is doing a great job with their comment, and I could see the disgust in their face because they have to admit that it killed them to admit that Trump's doing a great job. Now, when Trump had the election stolen from him, they're all giddy and all that stuff. But here's the situation I want you to think about, though, too. You're not going to tell me during the time Biden was in charge, they were not getting revenge against Trump supporters. And the more they crapped on us and looked down on us, Trump is like thinking ways like, you know what? I got to get back. I got to get back. And when things got really, really bad, people say like, you know what? No more. they had enough. That's why when Trump got go figure when Trump it died like over 30 times. He been impeached twice. He got that mugshot. You think that would break Trump? No. I think that, but the creme de la creme is when the man literally got shot on the air.
Yeah. I've never heard a sitting president swear until this week. I think I sent you that video when he said, "You don't want to fuck with America." That's what his exact words, quote for quote.
It's not the first time he swore, but I'm not surprised.
That is exactly what I voted for. A president that puts my country before anyone else's country. People be like, well, he sent money to Argentina. Well, he sent money to Argentina because there's a big drug problem going on right now with drug traffickers trafficking drugs through Venezuela, Argentina, and all that, and it's ending up in our country. So he sent Argentina that money to help them out a little bit to lower down the drug trafficking that's going on through their country that's leaking into our country.
But wait a minute, time about they're crying foul, but Trump's sending money. How many billions of dollars we sent to Ukraine alone?
Yep. And don't get me started with that rhino Mike Pence.
The traitor, you mean? The traitor?
Yeah, back during I think it was like 2023 it was, Tucker Carlson, who I am a fan of, he had Mike Pence on a little sit-down interview, whatever, and he was telling Mike Pence, he said, telling him about everything that we've sent to the Ukraine, and then he comes back and Mike Pence says, well, we haven't sent enough. Now, Tucker Carlson said, with all due respect, suicide rates are up in this country. The cost of eggs, gas, cost of living is all up. People are becoming more dependent on the government to live. And then Mike Pence said, that's not my concern right now. So then Tucker Carlson came up and said, so the American people isn't your concern? Right there, 2 days later, he dropped out of the race. 2 days later, yep. He was no longer.
But here's what I noticed though: prices outside to come down. Like the biggest thing I know is coming down is gas prices. I remember at one point gas prices was like about almost like $4.50 a gallon. Now, right now, as it stands right now, it basically by my neck of the woods, it dropped down to about like say $3.25. It's not as low as rate, but it's got way lower. It dropped to at least about $1 in the past like about a few years, and it's an improvement compared to like from when Biden was in charge. I'm happy about it.
When I was in Texas last weekend or the weekend before, it was whenever it was, I was in Texas, but the gas prices there, man, were like $2.39, $2.45 a gallon.
Wow.
And I'm in Tennessee. If you go into the more bigger cities, it's like $3 a gallon. But if you go into like the more rural areas, it's like $2.50, $2.40 a gallon, anywhere in that range. It's just in the states like what you're in, and New York and California, they're not going to go as low because they also still got the local state tax on their gas too. And if the state tax is high, that means the gas there is still going to be a bit higher. The federal tax hasn't come down, but not the state tax.
Right. I think in Pennsylvania we got hit with the highest gas tax in the nation, which I think is insane and all that. But yeah.
Drill, baby, drill. We need to start drilling more.
Oh, trust me, Trump's gonna push for that. He's gonna push for that hard, and I can't blame him because people they try to push for people to get electric cars, and I'm laughing. Don't get me wrong, electric cars are cool if you can afford it. But here's the question: how you gonna charge the cars up?
The charge stations run off diesel generators.
And where did diesel come from, by the way? I love that.
Back towards the beginning of last year, I believe it was, I rented a electric car for Ubering. Okay. I had I think it was like a Hyundai or something like that. But dude, that car was the biggest heap of crap I've ever driven.
No way.
Performance wise, it's a quick car. But when you got a run that pops up and it's a nice run where you can make like $20 off it, and you're looking at it and the distance of that, let's say the distance of that run is 17 miles, but you only got 10 miles of range left. Now you got to stop for 45 minutes to an hour to charge this car up. What if
Mm.
you're in a bad neighborhood and you don't want to pull over somewhere for an hour or whatever, and it's not like, oh, you just go to 7-Eleven, be like, hey, let me get 10 on 5 real quick. You just want to throw some money in your car to go do that delivery real quick and be on your way. Nope, you can't take that run now because your car has got to charge. You got to leave that to someone else because you're not going to leave the customer waiting an hour to charge your car. So that was the biggest downfall with it. I took it on a quick road trip from Dallas up to Kansas City, Missouri.
Right.
And on the way there, that trip was 500 some miles. I stopped to charge that car 8 times. And each
8?
time, yep. And each time you charge that car, it's about a $35 charge fee. That's how much you
What
pay to
time out?
charge the cars up.
$35 a charge?
Yep.
Okay, let me do this math. You say 8 times you gotta charge the car up, right?
Yep.
Let me do this. Okay, time out. Say 70, 200, $300. You got paid almost $300 to charge that car up, right?
And to sit an hour each time. That's the problem with them. They're just
Okay,
concept is good, but nope.
where's the fuel efficiency? Are you kidding me?
There is no feel. Now, cars that I think aren't so bad and would be a good substitute would be hybrids. Because
Oh
what a
yeah,
car does, they run off the battery, and then when the battery gets low, the engine of the car kicks in to charge the battery up, and that's the only time you use gas. Those cars
right.
aren't too bad. But if you're going on solely just electric, it's not the way to go. And there's a lot of people now that are trying to invent like electric semis and self-driving electric semis. That's going to severely slow down our supply chain. Because now if a car can't go more than 200 miles off a full charge and has to charge for an hour after 200 miles each time, what do you think a semi that's hauling an 80,000-pound load going to have to do? Not to mention the weight of them batteries are heavy as heck too. If a truck in this country is over 80,000 pounds, they got to take a specialized route. So whenever you cross into a new state line, you'll see police scales. And those police
Yep.
scales are for commercial vehicles to pull into to weigh their trucks out to make sure that truck is at an appropriate weight for the roads in their state. And if a truck isn't, they got to take a specialized route. Now, these trucks that they want to make electric with these electric batteries inside them, you're going to need about 100 batteries inside these trucks just to make sure they go at a good range. That's going to add an extra, I want to say about 40,000 pounds to this truck. Those trucks will be sitting at 120,000 pounds just to move freight around. You're going to have to tear up every single road in this country to be able to handle the weight of that truck.
Apparently somebody did look at the vacuum. That's insane. I mean, that's nuts. But there's something called if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. But they try to so-called reinvent the mousetrap, and we end up getting trapped because somehow we end up paying the price for it.
Oh, we're the lab rats, and then the politicians are the scientists,
Yeah, the mad scientist.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like I said, I'm gonna talk about one last thing that I'll wrap it up because like I said, this hour went quick. I can't believe it.
We're
Like I said,
flying.
one talks about when ICE come to pick up the illegal alien criminals, and people are trying to fight them. And here's the problem: these ICE agents and the National Guard are fighting not to strike back, because if like the National Guards, if they want to, they can like take them out. And if they really try to really like hurt somebody, because somebody made a death threat against ICE agents, and all it takes one time for somebody to do something stupid to try to kill an ICE agent. What's going to stop Trump from sending the Marines? If Trump got to send the Marines, these people are done.
Oh yeah, and I think each person that's in there and fighting with ICE when they're in the middle of doing their job should be charged with obstruction.
Big time. Oh, big time. I fully
That's
agree,
a charge
because
right there. And I think that we should give them the opportunity to defend themselves in the situation. Now, I'm not saying go ahead and shoot anybody, but if you got to tase someone, you got to detain someone while you're doing your job, by all means. Now, if someone gets physical with an ICE agent, they should be arrested on the spot. I feel like that's assault to a peace officer.
I agree. This event is found right here. It's from the New York Post. You got to check this out. I probably got, let me take a copy the link, so I put it on for everybody to see and all that. It's called Twisted New York Man Who Bragged He Was planning to attack ICE agents with firebombs at No Kings rally. He got nabbed. And I'm laughing because like you're making a threat against a federal agent. Are you that dumb? And the long story short, come on, you're making terrorist threats and nothing's gonna happen. Wrong. You're making a death threat against a federal agent, and you're surprised this person got busted. I'm not. And he's not the first person to say something that dumb. And people cry like, what about our rights? Funny? What about the rights of the people on the right when they try to speak the truth and you pretty much busted them and make their lives difficult?
Yeah.
But here's a number one twist too. Seems like every time we're like, say, National Guard or ICE agents come like to cities like, say, Memphis, Chicago, and all the places, crime there, like I'll say, I think the places they went to first is like DC and Memphis. People said the cities are safer. The criminals realized, like, okay, Trump's in town, we better mess around.
I was doing Uber Eats around Memphis. I think it was 2 days ago. I did Uber Eats around Memphis, and it was like 7, 8 o'clock at night. I was doing fine. I made some money and all that stuff. No one messed with me, and it was a pretty successful night.
Yeah, basically, if I heard correctly, Memphis is a notoriously dangerous place to be. And I'm going like, which kind of surprised me because I thought it'd be more.
Did you lose your Jeff? Well, y'all, I think we lost Jeff again. Yeah, folks, we lost connection again with Jeff. We apologize for that, and I'm going to wrap it up. I'll wrap it up, and I hope you all have a great night, and God bless y'all. Thank you for watching.
Joe, you still there?
I am here, brother. 1 second.
Okay.
All right, I'm here.
Okay, like I said, it closes the bottom line that Trump is doing like an incredible job. First year, he's doing a lot of monumental things. And the funny is, here's the sad thing I think is really depressing though. Trump is trying to do a lot of good things for the American people, and the Democrats are fighting him every step of the way. Again, but this time the American people see through this, thankfully.
I wish more American people would.
I stated, yeah, I wish me too. But like I said, people are drinking this Democratic Kool-Aid for so long, they don't want to give it up.
We've had, it's like, what do we do with these weirdos and people? Like, we've gotten rid of asylums, and now the asylums are the ones that we're going against. You can look at a Democrat in the face and tell them they're evil, and they don't care. They'll take that with a badge of honor. They'll brag about being evil. It's no longer, we can't just tell them, oh, you're being evil, you're being a bad person. Well, yeah, that's their intent, right? And then people are like, oh, well, we'll stop these shootings because we would just tell them, oh, if you shoot someone, you're going to get the death penalty. You don't think they're going into these shootings with the thought in the back of their mind that they're going to be killed anyways? They don't care about dying. I think they're like the modern day suicide bombers. They go into the situation not caring about what their outcome is. It is what it is. They're evil. They're pure evil. They don't believe in God. They're the Antichrist.
That's some scary, but like I said, very scary stuff though. That's very scary stuff. And the funniest thing is that like I said, they swear that they act like they have the moral high ground, and they have nothing. That's the funniest thing. They think they're more religious, more moral, and they're not.
Oh, they don't care about religion at all. Most of them are atheists to begin with, or they're Muslim or Islamic, and I think Islam is a cancer to the world. Just my opinion. I think when you worship someone who forced a 9-year-old girl to marry him, why is that something you want to worship, right? Like, why is that something you look after? People are like, oh, don't eat pork because it's against like Islam. Man, I want to go make me a BLT right now. Shoot, like that's just how I am with it. But I don't know, man. And I met people that were Muslim. They were decent people, this or that. But once their religion gets in the way, it's a whole different story because they're not going to go against the religion for you.
That's true. That's very true stuff. Like I said, bottom line, I'm going to probably end this as well. Like, as it stands right now, the country, in my opinion, the country is on the right path, is doing better. The only person who's going to be in a way for this country to get there are the Democrats. They got to fight Trump at every step of the way. Bro, Trump could find a cure for cancer tomorrow, and the Democrats will find a way to stop him. Trump could find a way to make sure that every American from California to New York to do better economically. Watch how fast the Democrats fight them. I'll go one step further. I know you heard about the tariffs and all that, right?
Yeah.
Trump used the money for the tariffs to make sure that the soldiers get paid. You know what I say? How about you take the money for the politicians as well? Those politicians should not get paid if the government shut down. You take the money for the politicians, give it to the soldiers. As well for the women. He gave it to them as well. But Trump don't care about women. Right.
To your comment about the cancer thing, if Trump found a cure for cancer, Democrats will go and stick their head in their microwaves with the setting on high. That's just the way they would go. It's like goes back to the Tylenol thing. You see the lady taking a bunch of Tylenol when she's pregnant. Imagine what she would do if Trump said, "Oh, I found a cure for cancer." Well, I guess we're just going to stick our head in microwaves. It's like, I know it's satire, but there's an old South Park episode to where it's like, oh, if you get cancer, you can go get a medical marijuana card, right? And then everyone goes and gets cancer just so they can go get this medical marijuana card. I think that's how it would be if Trump came up with a cure for cancer, is everyone would go and try to get cancer then intentionally. And
I wouldn't be surprised. I
It
want to be
might,
surprised, but I'm not. I want to be surprised, but I'm not.
yeah, and honestly, I'm not wishing death or ill on anyone. But if Trump did do something like that, where he found a cure like that, and they all went and gave themselves self-inflicted cancer, maybe the world would be a better place. At least the
I'll put
country
that.
would be a better country, and that's not me saying anyone should die or anything like that. But removing the liberal ideology from this country would make it a much better country.
I'll put it like this though: the fact that like that pregnant woman, like you see it for yourself. This woman's like is very pregnant. It's not she took one Tylenol; she took about a few Tylenols from different bottles just so she'd be sticking to Trump. They call it, I think I call it like selective natural selection, plain and simple. She's pretty much took herself out of. But here's the problem though: an innocent baby is involved. That's my biggest problem. The woman do
Yeah.
something that insane, fine, but you involve an innocent child, that's just wrong.
And it's sad that that baby, whether it's healthy or not, is going to grow up with that woman's point of views and ideology as well. It's going to
Yeah.
think like that woman. Like when I look at two people that make a baby, I'm just like, man, I wish you two didn't make the baby. You know, it's like I'm not against people like falling in love and making a baby out of love and this and that, but it's just like you see two people who aren't even intelligent enough to take care of themselves to try to take care of a baby. It's like, what are you
Facts.
doing? It goes back to that cheating video that you showed me earlier. Like that girl was checked out. You could tell she was checked out of that relationship way before that baby was conceived. If you're checked out of that relationship like that, what are you doing going and making a baby? What are you doing still sleeping with him?
Well,
What are
she
you
still wants the benefits. She wants the benefits what her husband provides. That's why. She said herself, like, well, if I found somebody you didn't know, but it doesn't work out, I could come back to you. And you heard it too. I'm going like, you serious? And
she
the
wanted to
woman
try to
said,
live a whole separate life somewhere.
but guess what though? Like last time I checked, the guy may have life very miserable. But if I was him, I said, like, you know what? I have all the proof of the evidence. Divorce court, here we go. Child support, good kiss that goodbye because like you be giving me child support because you got stoked. The woman was like about just gave birth 6 weeks prior before she just gave the tender profile 6 weeks after the baby was born. Seriously? The baby
Oh,
is
wait
still a
a minute.
newborn at the time.
Okay. I thought that profile was made before the baby was born, but either way, it still don't make it right. You knew she had
Yeah,
those intentions in her head before the baby was born. You know?
right. But like I said, this is like 6 weeks after she gave birth to the baby, she made a Tinder profile and said she needs something different. Are you serious? That's the excuse you're going with?
So
But this
much
is
for
why,
marriage
man,
vow.
thank you.
Imagine, imagine going to the divorce court and the judge is asking why she was about to commit adultery, and she just says, "Oh, I was bored." Like
Here's
what?
the scary, exactly. Here's the scary thing, though. Can you imagine a man having that excuse? Can you picture that?
Oh, he'd be a deadbeat. They'd call him every name in the book. But you want to get technical. If you want to go to some countries, and if a woman cheats on her man, there's countries where a woman will get a tongue ripped from her mouth just from lying to her man. They say,
Or
well,
get
we ripped
stoned
her
to death,
tongue from her mouth. She can't lie no more. You know?
or get or get stoned to death, God forbid. But I
Yeah.
said, but bottom line, but comes this is kind of funny though. Women will divorce a man because she's unhappy, not because he cheated on her, not because he abused her, and not because he has an addiction, because she's unhappy. It's like, so talk to your man about being unhappy, seek professional help. But meanwhile, the husband, he will put with a loveless, sexless marriage. That tells me this man is more committed than a woman.
Yep.
More committed. How do I
You
guess
know,
that? Because you want to know how I guess that? Because who will initiate divorces more?
there was a guy that I was listening to uh probably like a week or two ago, and he was a very, very Christian person. He stuck to the whole no sex till marriage. He wasn't going to lose his virginity until he found someone that he wanted to marry in the whole 9 yards. But what happened was started finding out like even girls at church didn't want church guys, and he was finding out these girls that were even at his church were sitting there, they weren't virgins. Those girls at his church weren't virgins or anything like that. It's like it's not like that anymore. There's no morals with women anymore. They're not about that stuff anymore. He said, you know what? I gave up on that because it's either I give up on it or I'm just going to be single and die, the rest of my life because there are no virgin women anymore. Like
Well,
sad
I,
to
I
say,
go. I, yeah, I'm
the
about to
sad.
say the
Go ahead, go ahead, go
yeah.
ahead.
I'm about to say the percentage of let's say if you try to find a woman right now in the United States who's a virgin, the chances are 5%.
Whew.
5%. Are you kidding me? Bro, I think about 100 years ago, the number was way higher, but right now, 5%. 5.
That's a crazy statistic, but
That's
it's a factual statistic though. It's factual. I mean, it ain't like it's a lie or anything like that. It is what it is.
And the worst part, women try to encourage other women to be just like them. Here's my
Yep.
thing. Any woman out there who's holding the line, saying, you know what, I'm not going to give it up until I find a man who I'm going to marry. To those women, I say, God bless you. Keep praying to God. And don't let these other women influence your decision. Don't follow what these women want you to do. Follow what God wants you to do. Because God is never wrong. If you follow these
I,
other women, you're going to go down a very bad path.
I know a girl. She is by the age of 18, 19 years old, she was already damaged goods. She's 26, 27 years old right now with
Right.
6 kids.
How
Different
many?
dad, 6 kids, different dads. One of her kids' dad is an illegal immigrant. She's just completely ran through. She what she did was a few years ago, I think it was like a few years ago, she took her little sister, who was a minor at the time, to Las Vegas. She pimped out her sister to some old man. And
No,
then,
no.
but her sister is scared to confess to it because she doesn't want her sister's kids to end up in a foster home. So she's completely mind effed up, from it. And
Right.
she doesn't want to say anything or do anything. And it's just like, man. And this girl, she's very, very evil. She's the type of person, she does very evil things, but she's got nothing on her police record. She just
Yet.
knows how to manipulate the system. Like she has a kid with someone and she doesn't know who the dad is to that kid. And she went and made up a false DNA results thing, and she told this guy, "Oh, you watch your kid, or I'm going to turn you in to ICE." That's what she told this guy. She went over to Turkey, the country Turkey, slept around, came back, and then told the guy, "Oh, he's not your kid. I just wanted you to take care of him and watch him while I went over there." And then she blocked him and never heard from him again. This same girl, she lied about her dad when her dad got custody of her when she was about 13, 14 years old because the house that she was living in before that wasn't that good. And her dad was very strict. He's like us. He's a Trump supporter. He's very conservative, and he had a 5-year-old daughter. So he told his other daughter, he said, "Look, no boys in the house. You're not smoking weed. You're not doing this. You're not doing that." So she said, "Okay." So what she did was she went and conspired with her stepsister, and they both went to school and said that he touched them. They got him locked up for 12 years in prison of false allegations. And I know they're false allegations because they both came out and told me directly that they lied and they did it. Their intentions were just to scare him so they could do whatever they wanted. Women are evil. Very, very evil.
Streets out there is very dangerous, my friend. Well, Joe, I gotta get ready to go. I'm calling tonight because I gotta get ready to be up for church in a few hours, man. But it's a pleasure to have you around, bro. And in terms of this on the live stream, we gotta do this again soon. We gotta do it most likely next week, same time. But bro, I catch you again soon. But thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Much love to you, bro. God
Pleasure
bless.
so much, man. Hit me up whenever.
Yeah, bro. Okay, good night, bro. I gotta get some sleep. Catch you soon. Everybody else, thank you. Have a great night. Peace.